Aquaculture, one of the fastest growing industries in the world. More than half of all seafood products used for human consumption now comes from this new and exciting industry. During the past 10 years, world aquaculture production has doubled, while the amount of wild-caught fisheries products has increased by only 15%. As wild fish stocks dwindle and land for agriculture becomes scarce, aquaculture could soon become the world's most important protein source. The problem with aquaculture is that most conventional methods are simply not sustainable. Large earthen ponds or cages in the sea cause long-term environmental damage. After 3 or 4 years, disease inevitably strikes and is often impossible to control. However, during the past 30 years, a new method of aquaculture has developed, called intensive recirculation technology. Animals are grown at high density, in tanks inside a shed. Water is recirculated and treated by specialized biological filters. Environmental conditions are completely controlled, so an intensive indoor farm is not at the mercy of predators or the weather. Disease is easily controlled, and temperature manipulation means that the normal seasons of summer and winter no longer apply. In many cases, these intensive farms produce no waste, noise, or smell. There are many advantages to this type of farming, but the process does require good filtration system design and a high level of management expertise. The world trend is for a movement away from conventional methods to intensive farming. Intensive recirculation technology is universally recognized as the future of aquaculture worldwide. Aquaculture Systems Proprietary Limited is Australia's leading manufacturer of equipment for small-scale intensive fish farming. Commercial aquaculture facilities are established in a modular format for efficiency and disease control. Each module is identical. Regardless of the farm size, it is logical to replicate a number of relatively small isolated modules. Flexible walls can be rolled up for ease of access or to allow flow-through air during summer. Within a single module, aquaculture systems arrange 6 isolated tanks around a central working area. Each tank has its own filter and heater. One tank in each module is smaller and used for finishing the stock before marketing. This smaller tank often holds salt water for treating disease or improving the flavor of freshwater animals. Each module has 5 tanks where the product is actually grown, and each tank supports 300 kilograms or 600 plate-sized fish in full commercial aquaculture application. Fish are graded for size difference and moved in a clockwise direction from tank to tank as they grow. As orders are received, the manager catches the fish of the required size and places them in a finishing tank, where they are held for several days to empty the stomach. A live transport truck then backs up to within 1 meter of the finishing tank. Fish are transferred and the truck drives away. A similar process occurs when the fish are sold whole dead, but the animals are first killed in an ice slurry. Aquaculture Systems farms grow a relatively small quantity of absolute premium quality fish. They target small, high-value niche markets, such as restaurants. This particular farm grows 9 tons of fish per year on the area of a tennis court. These small, isolated systems offer a great deal of flexibility. Atlantic salmon can be grown in one tank at 10 degrees Celsius, for example, while eels can be grown in the neighboring tank at 20 degrees. Temperature manipulation allows out-of-season spawning, and by lowering the temperature, market-size animals can be held in hibernation for long periods. Virtually any aquatic animal species can be grown in these tanks, in either fresh or salt water. Aquaculture Systems farms in different areas all use the same quality assurance code of practice. Product from several farms can be pooled together to supply large domestic or export markets with relative ease. Production from Aquaculture Systems farms is very reliable. Weather or natural disasters are of little concern, and the manager continually knows the health, size, and number of fish on the farm with absolute accuracy. The farms themselves are isolated, so disease is rare. If disease does strike, the problem is isolated to a single tank or perhaps a single module and will not affect all animals on the farm. Small isolated working areas make disease treatment simple and effective. A backup generator keeps the farm running in case of a power failure, and each module is fitted with an alarm system to alert the manager. The Aquaculture System's Australian-designed filter system combines all functions of a recirculating filtration system into a single unit with a single pump. Running cost is low, and the risk of breakdown is greatly reduced. This single filter unit supports 600 plate-sized fish with 3 kilograms of pellet food going into the tank every day. This is state-of-the-art technology. Once loaded with sediment, the Aquaculture System's filter unit is backwashed. This process takes 3 minutes per tank each day. One person can comfortably manage 5 modules. All waste hoses are linked to a central drain, and all waste is simply used to irrigate trees or a grassy area. Fish emulsion is in fact a valuable fertilizer. A single module uses only 500 litres of water per day, so there is no need to release water into a river or stream. This is truly environmentally friendly farming for the future. As well as the necessary equipment, Aquaculture System supplies a complete management manual with each module, as well as a range of species-specific grow-out guides. People are able to begin growing fish immediately on a commercial scale with no aquaculture experience whatsoever. A comprehensive business management software package accompanies each module. So in effect, what is being sold is a complete working business. These intensive modular farms can be established almost anywhere. In Australia, they allow people to enter the aquaculture industry with investment as low as $50,000 rather than the $500,000 or so required for a small pond or cage-based farm. Investment return of up to 50% per annum is possible. Aquaculture thus becomes available to a wide range of farmers and investors. Tax advantages make investment in aquaculture systems equipment very attractive. This is world-class equipment and recognised as the most technologically advanced fish farming system in Australia and New Zealand. The equipment designer has 2 intensive aquaculture degrees and 15 years experience. Aquaculture Systems arrange tanks in this modular fashion for commercial aquaculture, but they also sell single tanks or filters for hobby farming, research, education, aquarium fish breeding, and also for holding live seafood. Management manuals and other products are also sold separately as required. This equipment has obvious unlimited potential within Australia alone. Aquaculture Systems Proprietary Limited is largely responsible for the creation of a new industry in Australia, the use of small-scale aquaculture systems for commercial production. The company has established a successful franchise copy in New Zealand, where a new industry is now also developing rapidly. The future of aquaculture is here.
When you think of a farm, images of green pastures, rows of crops or farm animals come to mind, don't they? But this is a farm with a difference. The creatures being farmed here live in indoor tanks and have a face only a mother could love. Their mouth is humongous with a protruding lower jaw. Their body is covered in large scales and they're known for their eyes that glow at night. What a beast! Of course, I'm talking Barramundi. They're fascinating fish. To begin with, Barramundi are semi-hermaphrodites, which means they hatch as a boy and after about 5 years of growing, change to a female. Wow! And here's another amazing Barramundi fact. It's possible for the female to produce an incredible 20 million eggs per year. In Aboriginal culture, the barramundi is of huge importance because it was a major component of their diet. A member of the perch family, in the wild these fish live in estuaries and rivers in subtropical and tropical climates where the water is nice and warm at above 20 degrees Celsius and close to 30 degrees Celsius. Barramundi are very adaptable, which makes them ideal for breeding. They're also really tasty, so let's find out more from farmer Greg Cash. Hi Greg.
Hi Stacey.
How you going?
Good, very good.
Now, you actually farm barramundi, you're using intensive tank-based systems.
Yes.
What does that actually mean?
It means that we farm them indoors, in tanks obviously. It just, we try to have more control over what we do. We're not at the mercy of predators or the weather, but generally speaking, the main reason why we do it indoors in tanks like you see in front of you here is that it's a more environmentally sustainable way of farming fish. I think the future will see a lot more of this intensive indoor tank-based farming because it is more environmentally sustainable.
Okay, now I noticed that sometimes barramundi, they differ in colour. Why is that?
Barramundi generally in a freshwater environment, Stacey, they're black, but as they move into saltwater they turn silver. And we can actually see that on the farm here because we do have some saltwater tanks. And we can see as we take our fish from freshwater into saltwater, they actually change to a more silver colour.
The conditions in each tank, like temperature and pH level, can be controlled separately to suit the needs of the residents. And there's a very good reason why fish of about the same size share the same tank.
Cannibalism is a problem when the fish are small, Stacey. If you're not very careful, if you don't separate out the sizes very carefully, they will invite their friends to dinner, unfortunately.
And have them for dinner?
They will have them for dinner, that's exactly right. Once they're larger, like the fish you see here, really the cannibalism is not a problem, but it definitely is when the fish are smaller.
Twice daily, a feeding frenzy takes place. Pellets containing a blend of fish and vegetable protein are devoured by the hungry barramundi. And as we all know, what goes in one end must come out the other. The waste excreted by the fish is processed by the tank's filtering system. It ends up as fertiliser, which feeds and irrigates an avocado orchard also on the property. So nothing is wasted. A tank called the purging tank is the last step before the fish are sold.
Stacey, this is what we call a purging tank. This is where we actually finish the fish before we sell them. What that means is that we have salt water in this tank. It actually improves the flavour of the flesh, gives it a more salty flavour, but also we speed the circular current in the tank so that the fish have to swim very hard against the current.
Good exercise.
A good exercise. It actually takes a little bit of fat off the body, and it's fat that holds those sort of muddy flavours that freshwater fish sometimes have. So really the purpose of this tank is just to make sure that we have an absolute premium quality fish.
There's no doubt that the beautiful barramundi satisfies a lot of taste buds, but what really impresses me is the fact that this method of farming is sensitive to the environment.
Monday. Eat fresh barramundi when it comes to a feed of fish, and while they're usually snap frozen from the top end, chances are the next barra you eat will come from much closer to home. Doug Murray's discovered a Nambour fish farm that's growing a big reputation.
The fighting barramundi is a king among sporting fish with its guarantee to thrill. It's just as popular on the table.
This is something you don't hear much about?
No.
But the flesh is that good that it can be sushi.
Barramundi sushi style might not seem regular fare. Ray Saunders will not hear of anything but his favourite fish on the menu.
So, Ray, were you always a barramundi fan before this?
No. Didn't know anything about them.
You're a yellow belly man.
I was a yellow belly man.
In a previous career in the saddle, Ray chased cattle. Recreational fishing was confined to the Thompson River near Longreach, where the local delicacy was yellow belly.
It'll be 2 years since he's been fishing, yeah.
Why is that?
Been too busy looking after his little barramundis.
The fish, 30,000 of them at various stages of growth, are grown from baby fingerlings to plate size in heated freshwater tanks. It takes 6 months to reach market weight, around 500 grams. The Nambour operation is a far cry from riding the outback range.
if we don't risk failure, we can never hope for success, and it is a high-risk game, so we use that as a marker when things go wrong.
Greg Cash is the technical advisor, helping out with the aquaculture system.
This used to be a tennis court here, actually, and he's not interested in playing tennis anymore, so we put a fish farm here. And we actually say that if the fish farm ever gets closed down, somebody's going to say this would be a great spot for a tennis court.
From tennis serves to plate-sized servings of our favourite seafood delicacy, there's just one problem to overcome. Some farmed fish have triggered consumer concerns about quality.
There are some imported fish which are very, very muddy, have no texture to the flesh.
They've grown in a dam.
They've been grown in polluted water, in dams often. They swim around at their own pace, they get a lot of fat on the body, and it's actually fat that holds those muddy, fishy flavours.
To avoid the objectionable tainted flesh, tank water is circulated faster to make the fish work harder to swim off the offending fat. That's not possible in other operations where the outdoor pond or cage type system is employed, where there's little control. As well, Ray can switch to salt water in the finishing off period to lighten the undesirable dark skin colour.
And the silver colour comes by purging them in the salt. They sort of clean their skins up and go silver. This fish has only been in for a day. Give him another couple of days and he'll be real silver.
Success has encouraged Ray to experiment with another variety, the premium table fish Mangrove Jack. But his first love is the Barramundi.
I don't know about a barramillionaire at this stage anyway, but I believe 5 years down the track, to me it's just like the feedlot industry was. They weren't getting a premium price early, but they are now, and I think that's what will happen to the fish farming.
Ray's babies are sold under the label Rosebank, the name of his old outback spread. Unlike the cunning cattle that used to avoid muster, around here you'll never hear a fishing lament about the one that got away. Well, almost.
I'll do the Rex Hunt kissy kissy. Oh, Jack!
A great fish.